Since boxing is in the business of not giving us what we want, I think we as supporters of the sport should talk about things that should happen because it's the right thing to do. Let's chop it up.
Push the weight and no flex. Alive is one in the six. With the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I'm a 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan, Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. You know, sometimes we get sidetracked and we forget why we love the sport of boxing. It's real easy to get sidetracked by irrelevant things because they become big news. But just because it's big news doesn't mean it's important. For example, everybody made a big stink about Jake Paul versus Floyd Mayweather, but we knew what it was. It was an exhibition. Whether you hate the Paul brothers or hate Floyd Mayweather, they made a lot of money and it was an exhibition. They didn't lie to us. They told us what it was going to be. We paid it attention. I ain't paid much attention. I knew what it was. There was a lot of people that was saying, hey, man, Floyd should have knocked him out. Mind you, he outweighed Floyd by like 50 pounds. I saw some things on Twitter. People send me things on Twitter. Oh, yeah, I think Floyd should knock him out. Skip Brainless talking about, oh, he should have knocked him out. I think we should see a knockout. It was an exhibition. You wasn't going to see a knockout. I knew you had that small thought in your mind. Maybe it gets real for a couple of seconds, and it did get real. They're now talking about maybe Floyd could have knocked him out with that pull counter, whatever. But the fun and games are over. And if you're a true supporter of the sport, we need to be talking about matchups that actually make sense, that we should be celebrating. Right under the radar, right under our nose. That could be fun fights. And shout out to Stormy B-Man, because he spoke on this just last night. And I'm going to keep the ball bouncing because the more I thought about it, the more this fight actually makes sense. And I'd love to see it. Danny Garcia versus Mikey Garcia. I want you to look at this picture and just think of it. Just think. Think about it. Think about it. Danny lost his last fight. All right? These guys now have an opponent in common. Think about how fun this fight will be. I like Danny Garcia. Tough kid from Philadelphia. Represents Puerto Rico. He doesn't take a step backwards, man. And sometimes that gets him into trouble. You know, but Danny's never been hurt. I don't think he's ever been dropped either. Tough as nails, man. I respect his game, man. Danny Garcia is the truth. Mikey Garcia. How many belts he held in the lower divisions? Very, very, very good boxer. Another guy, tough as nails. He stood up to Errol. They thought about stopping it in the 10th, but he weathered the storm. Didn't win. But he stood there 12 rounds and took it. Really, really good boxer, man. This will be a fun fight. I don't want to pick anyone's skill set over the other, but I want you to understand something. Now, it's impossible to talk boxing without talking about the market. This is Puerto Rico versus Mexico. Both of them are American, but you know Mikey represents his ethnicity, Mexican. Think about how many Mexican versus Puerto Rico battles have there been throughout the years. This is a classic in the making. This is a classic. Like Stormy B-Man said, Go subscribe to Stormy B, man, by the way. Like he said, this has the potential to be a 2 or 3 fight classic. And the best part about this, there's no belt involved. This is bragging rights. This is real bragging rights. For all of you that are boxing supporters, boxing purists, sign this fight. I want to see if ESPN talks about it, because I'm going to talk about it. This, to me, would be an instant classic. Really think about it. I could see it. I get excited thinking about this. This right here, major fight. Yes. In New York, this sells. In LA, this sells. I think in LA, there'll be more Mexicans coming out to support Mikey. I think in New York or Philadelphia, there'll be more Puerto Ricans coming out to support Danny. But this would be a classic matchup. And these two guys are solid, man. Really think about this. These are the kinds of conversations we're supposed to be having. And like I said, sometimes we get blindsided by the bigger names. We're all talking about Fury versus Wilder and AJ and the Usyk situation. That we forget about the things that are wandering around down there. Sean Porter don't have a dance partner. Ugas now don't have a dance partner. These two guys don't have dance partners. They have an opponent in common. There's no belt involved, just bragging rights. You can sell this fight. The Latino fan base is huge, man. Huge. Can you imagine marketing this fight? Can you imagine taking the muzzle off of Danny's dad for this fight? Can you imagine that? I think this needs to happen. What do y'all think? I like this, man. I would go see this. This is beautiful, man. Mikey's a pure boxer. Danny, boxer, puncher. That left he throws is ridiculous. A no-look left. But Mikey, he has tools now. He's not easy food. I mean, Errol got at him, but Errol also got at Danny. And Danny's far from done. Danny's resume is stellar. He didn't win all of the important fights that he had, but I like Danny, man. I like Danny a lot, man. Danny's for real, man. Danny's for real. So I think the boxing community, the boxing supporters, needs to support this right now. Shout out to Stormy B, man. I'm excited about this. We are the narrative. We need to push this. And I got a few other fights in mind that some I spoke on prior, some I haven't. But watch, when I start mentioning these names, you're going to be like, oh yeah, why can't they fight? Now understand, no belt involved here. This is for the purist only. I'll bring it up during the live stream. But as far as a winner, after careful consideration, I got Garcia. Move!